The future is here. The future is here. The future is queer.
The future is what?
The future is here.
And for neutral, taas yun lang, sir.
Okay.
Sa reverse, may click kayo to, sir. Yep, yun lang, sir.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Para sa mga environmentalists dyan, wala na dapat akong maririnig na, kulang pa kasi yung mga infrastructure para sa mga electric vehicles dito eh. Well, it's time to put that BS to an end. Because the future is here. Interlock Circuit Hill, lol. And if you're wondering, yeah, it's a racetrack. This is the future. And Nissan decides that it's time to stick it to the future. Let me be the first one to admit that the future is not the prettiest. Pero ang masabi ko, nandito na siya. Before we get started, a little fun fact for y'all. The Nissan Kicks was actually introduced in 2016. No, it was not released here in the Philippines. We still had the Juke at that point. Funnily enough though, the Kicks was actually released to replace the Juke. You can say that the Kicks kicked the Juke out. It was actually in 2020 when the Nissan Kicks e-Power was released. And lucky for us, we actually got the Nissan Kicks e-Power here. Not even the 1.6-liter engine ones, but all of our variants here is the electric version. And that's a very ballsy move by Nissan. So what makes the Nissan Kicks so special? Well, it's the fact that the Nissan Kicks is an electric car with a combustion engine. And I know what you're gonna say. Edi useless. You still have to gas it up. And that's true. You do still have to gas it up. Yes, may makina pa rin siya. This HR12DE 3-cylinder engine is just there para i-recharge yung batteries. The batteries power up the electric motor, and the electric motor powers up the wheels. So what's the point of all this hoo-ha? Well, it's simple. Tanggal lahat ng stress sa makina. Because at the end of the day, all that combustion engine is doing is a genset for the battery. And you know what that means? No more charging. And all that engine is doing is sitting pretty, recharging the batteries as you go. That makes this not so shitty shitbox do 100 horsepower and 280 Newton meters of torque. That's some crazy ass numbers if you ask me. The other crazy thing is its regenerative power. That's right, it can use your momentum from coasting into recharging the batteries even further. Mind you, it's a little bit annoying to use. Priced at 1.2 to 1.5 million, the Nissan Kicks is an awesome deal for what it is. And today I want to show you guys our experience with the Nissan Kicks here in Interlock Circuit Hill. So let's go! So we are here at Interlock Circuit Hill with our very own DJ Bakungan, one of our professional drivers here, who Nissan Kicks and gave it the beans on track. So yeah, tell us about it.
Well, the Nissan Kicks, as you know, is a full electric vehicle with a gasoline generator. So it uses a gasoline engine to charge the batteries.
Okay.
But the drive wheels, of course, are being operated fully by electricity. So obviously, because it's an electric car, the response to torque is very quick.
Oh,
right?
okay.
It's good, strong. It's not like a Tesla that's really hard, but it's it's got good power for a daily, a city car for short trips or even some long trips. It's actually very nice. We got this thing up to 140 on the track. What's very interesting about this is that even though the suspension is quite soft and the spring travel is long, so the ride's nice.
Mind you though that this test unit is the VL variant, which means it's the top of the line. And no, it's not 1.2 million, it's 1.5 million. So what can the 1.5 million Nissan Kicks get you? And with that mess, let's go inside and start this thing. The seats are comfortable. The seats are stiff. Pretty supportive too. Not bad. Notice how the speedo only goes to 180 kilometers per hour. It's actually the top speed. In my kicks, pare. Inside, you'll find the finest plastic dashboard that Nissan has to offer. A bold mixture of LCD screens and the Nissan Almera. And I'm not kidding. Kaka-review ko lang ng Nissan Almera recently and the interior is exactly the same. I'm talking everything like the gauge cluster, the dashboard, even the seats. The interior design of the Nissan Kicks and the Nissan Almera is what I would call humble. The steering wheel is leather. It may be fake leather, but it's still good quality. The shift knob has a very satisfying springy actuation on it. And to be honest with you, if I can disable its function, I would play with this throughout traffic. Oh yeah, that's right. The rest of the materials though are noticeably cheap plastic and okay feeling plastic. I also have a deep liking for circle aircon vents. And they still give you USBs and a Type-C port. I also like the fact that they kept the cigarette lighter. As I mentioned, this one here is the VL variant, which means it's the top of the line. You may not get aircon vents at the rear, but you get 2 USB ports for charging because social media is more important than life these days. While I was reading the variants off of their website, that's when I noticed the differences are minimal. Heck, the Pailang variant has 0 gravity seats. What does that mean? That sounds so cool. So what is the major differences between the models? This one. Yup, that's right. It's just the touchscreen. It's got a 360 view camera with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And it's also got, you know, the usual safety stuff like intelligent forward collision warning and emergency braking, yada yada yada. The rest though, from bottom end to the top of the line, the dashboard looks exactly the same. Practicality wise, the Nissan Kicks is alright. You can sit 5 people comfortably, and the space at the rear hatch is pretty decent. But don't expect it to be as practical as, let's say, a Mitsubishi Expander or a Toyota Innova. It may be a 5-seater, but it's by no means a family hauler, if you know what I mean. Now we go outside, and it looks fine. Now don't get me wrong, the Nissan Kicks is not an ugly car per se. But man, it's sure as hell generic looking. I gotta tell ya, it really kinda reminds me of a facelifted Nissan Juke. Yeah, I said what I said. Yeah, there are a lot of curves and edges everywhere. It's also got a swooping roofline, you know, typical of crossovers these days. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what to tell ya. This is a very 2017-ish silhouette. I'd say definitely nothing to write home about. So how does this thing drive? The acceleration is definitely something to get used to. Turning radius is tight. Perfect for city streets. It's super quiet. Even Emma got to test drive it. Okay, so this is, they're all EVs.
The e-pedal, as they call it, there's a sort of regenerative braking.
Okay.
That allows that, you know, when you're off the gas, there's an engine braking effect that sort of, I think, helps charge the batteries, something like that.
Oh, that's very good.
So what happens there is your usual braking point, with a normal car with standard engine braking, of course you get very hard on the brakes. In this case, lift off, you already feel the braking, and then you can brake a lot later with the brakes. No? So, you know, you actually brake a little less with the kicks and later because you have the combined braking of the standard brake and the regenerative braking. That's why this car was doing like 10 laps, no problem.
If you've been wondering this whole video, yes, the Nissan Kicks is front-wheel drive. No, there are no four-wheel drive variants. For the Nissan Kicks, there will never be. Going back on how this thing drives, man, it is torquey. Is it fast? Yeah, saks lang. I wouldn't say na sobrang bilis niya. Actually, very good siya for beginners because the way this car handles speed is progressive. I mean, it's pretty light and quick, but it's not like shove you on your seat fast. I'd actually compare the way it feels to a Honda Jazz. It's also light and quick, but you won't feel like you're gonna travel through time with this car. Also, body roll wasn't so bad. I'm surprised. Handling with confidence. Is it easy to drive? Yes, very. The Nissan Kicks is actually pretty small. As I said, reminiscent of the Honda Jazz, so it's actually pretty easy to get used to. I mean, pag ito nahirapan ka pa, Pucha, wag ka na mag-drive. Mag-TikTok ka na lang dyan sa likod. Tingnan mo yung space Maraming space para mag-TikTok dyan. So now the last question remains. Should you buy the Nissan Kicks? Well, the answer to that is just like always, it depends on your needs. Because if you're looking for a family hauler, then you might as well look somewhere else. But if you're looking for the perfect daily car, this is it, man. Heck, I'd take this over most daily driver options out there. I wish Nissan actually made an e-power Nissan Livina, because that's a whole big chunk of the market they're missing out on. Heck, I don't even mind if Nissan refreshes their entire lineup with e-power models. I mean, just imagine. All Nissans will have the same engine, but bigger models will have bigger motors and bigger batteries. I mean, just imagine a Nissan Patrol putting out 25 kilometers per liter. Gasp! Blasphemy! It may be blasphemy for some, but the Nissan Kicks is opening a whole new door for the future. I mean, yeah, sure, the Nissan Kicks looks generic AF, but it's a total game changer without a doubt. And I definitely recommend it to anyone who can afford it. Nissan should really invest marketing this more and test this platform on an endurance race. You know, shove this platform on an Almera and pit it against the Vios Cup cars. Now, I'd seriously pay to watch that. At the end of the day, all I can say is finally, we have an electric car that's suitable here in the Philippines. And that's saying a lot. Yo, Nissan, I hope you're listening. More of these, please. Because the future is definitely here.
So we'd like to thank Sir Gerald of Nissan Pangasinan.
Yeah, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Nissan Kicks experience. It's been a lovely ride. It's actually a very good car.